And you got that same error?
Yeah.
Okay. Check this one. That's why you put in a new string key.
Yeah.
So which again, you gotta find out where that string key is.
So it's not, so like,
You just go to settings, right?
yeah, the settings, screen, and there's like different services.
Right, so go to Facebook. Okay, you did. You're on Facebook Live.
Yeah. And then, see how this is the Twitch stream.
How do you know?
If we go to, Twitch here, look at the stream view, it shows,
Yeah, it's the same one?
yeah, so I can get stream view here, and it brings you this Twitch over here. So that's this Twitch stream view. So then it actually looks like if I change it to Facebook, and,
The same key?
yeah, because that's it's serving this live. So then in Facebook, there's this stream feed here, which is this Facebook. But if I copy paste this, then it changes the Twitch stream feed to that.
Wow. So we do have to get a way to find it from here. Wait, here we are. There we go. Multiple output, that's it.
Yeah, that's how that's
There it is. Okay, so, Facebook. They're called targets, see? This is where you gotta get it from. All right? Okay, you take it from here. Multiple outputs, gotta remember that.
So you go here on Think Twice Radio posts. Let's see, yeah, maybe later. Yeah, so, robots. Yeah.
What are you doing? Were you looking up?
Oh, I was looking at, to see the thing twice. Oh, well, that's like, I'll wait patiently, yeah. But, yeah, oh, another thing, there was, another subject, maybe, I don't know if we can talk about this now, or we can talk about it later. In the 1700s, there was a giant wolf that ate like 115 people in France. It was like I think it was called the Beast of Gervais or something.
And it was a wolf?
They reported it as a wolf. This is the thing. It sounded like what they described. Like there were people who it was described as a big wolf, but they were probably peasants who they never saw a lion.
Okay.
It's very probable that like an aristocrat had a lion that got that because it fed and hunted just like a lion does.
I see.
Like it would attack the head and neck,
Sure.
and it wouldn't necessarily. It would also kill for fun.
It would.
So it was really disturbing in that way, yeah. And then they said, oh, it had talons, and it had a short maw, and it had like they described it like had a cow's tail. So it was probably like they only knew. But the truth is, wolves would kill people too, back in the day.
Sure.
But this one particular killed like 100. But it was also like there was elements of hysteria, like.
Did it get away or did they hunt it down?
They eventually of course he went nuts and they killed thousands of wolves too, but then there was one like hunter of the king, where he apparently killed it, and they were gonna stuff and put on display, but they let it rot, and then when he took it to the king, they just throw it in the ground. So they never really analyzed what it was.
I see.
But yeah, so, but they were saying though, there were like 117 people died, but it was described as a beast, and then like sometimes it was a little more horrifying because they were like, oh, it had hooves. Some people were like, oh, it was on its hind feet, and so there were some different. But it was weird because it was probably an actual cryptid or something they didn't know what it was, and it killed people.
Hmm.
You know.
Did you know you have a light that you can turn on?
Oh.
See?
Oh, jeez. Oh, okay, yeah.
Does that make your life easier?
Yeah, yeah, because I should remember these little facts. Okay, Lanford Hastings. He's the moron who wrote that book.
Okay.
And James Reed, he was really kind of the bad guy who got him in a lot of trouble. And but he left them. No, he killed the dairy. Isn't it? That like their oxen got caught up, and they all got on each other's nerves. So James Reed ended up killing one of the popular guys.
Oh.
He was a popular guy, and then they decided to exile him, which he finished the trail first, and then the war with Mexico started. It was weird. Then he went to war, but then he came back and he did rescue the Donner Party later. It was a whole.
So there are members of the Donner Party who.
Some of them lived, yeah. And yeah, it started with 80 people, 87 people, and like 41 returned.
Wow.
Yeah.
Did the people who survived talk about what they had to do to survive?
I think some of them did talk about it.
Yeah.
From what I heard, there was one guy who was kind of like, yeah, I did, you know, ooh, it tasted pretty good, you know, and you know what, and there was one real bad guy, but then there was like the one, I think it was the Donner family. There was a family where they kind of did pretty good. They didn't eat anybody.
Yeah.
They did
They
make
figured out a way to survive without doing that?
But yeah. So, oh wait, poor old. Yeah, see, our one fan, Nick's World. Sorry about that, Nick. What happened to Matt? Matt is tinkering away, trying to get the get. Oh, okay. Here now. Well, okay, we are now on Facebook. Hey, Facebook friends. Can you hear me? Welcome to the show. Wait for amazing content in a few minutes. Yeah. It's the beginning of the show.
Yeah. Last a week.
Yeah.
What's up? Facebook, they started doing 30 days.
Well,
Facebook is 30
They
days.
deleted because I was talking to the Buffalo Common Council. And I was like, hey, what happened to all your meetings since February?
Oh.
Yeah, February 19th, only 30 days. So all the shows are on Facebook.
here comes Matt. Right now. It was only think. Now it's Smalltalk is ready to go.
Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna hit the clock because do you have a timer button on your? I do. I programmed my own timer button. So here we go.
Hey, folks.
3, 2, 1. Hello, Think Twice Radio, and welcome to another episode of Small Talk with Matt and John.
I'm John.
And I'm Matt.
Hey,
And this
Matt.
is our show.
Yeah.
So welcome back to our show. We apologize for the technical difficulties, but part of putting live art on is the actual the difficulties. I think the Japanese have a philosophy where actually the imperfections make the art.
Yeah,
So
that's why I love those Japanese.
I do like the Japanese.
Yeah.
They're
I mean,
I
great
wish we
movies.
had more isolated cultures that developed their own unique ways of viewing things.
Yeah, they did great that way. Yeah, with the haiku and their great movies.
Yeah, and actually, we were going to talk about infringement. I did 2 infringement performances, and my second one was inspired by Taro Sugimoto.
Oh, okay.
And it was set up as a Jaha Q structure. Essentially, it's a design philosophy of Japanese, of essentially everything starts slowly with a build-up, then there's a sudden break, and then a kind of explosive end. And it's kind of, I think, representative of like nature. When you think of, right, there's spring, summer, and then it all comes crashing down in a blazing winter or fall season.
That's a great way of composing things.
Yeah. It's like 3 periods, like hockey game.
Yeah. So like, what was it, Fuju?
Taro Tsujimoto.
He was a great hockey player.
He was the Japanese Wayne Gretzky.
Yeah.
That's what they said.
Yeah.
And,
I gotta love that guy. Yeah.
Yeah, and he, part of my, essentially my Jaha-Q structure was, the beginning was like an introduction to, the legend of him, and then, so that was, he's a legend.
Yeah.
In, folklore.
Yeah, he is a folklore. Yeah, around Buffalo, we speak often of him.
And Nick Rold says that, well, most Japanese schools always have their students clean the school since elementary school, all the way to most Japanese companies. And I think I saw a meme on the internet that, you know how in America when, say there's a giant parking garage or a giant mall, people, they get their first park in the front and then they filter back.
Yeah.
But the Japanese, actually, if they worked at Tesla, the employees that would get there first would park farthest away from the door to be considerate of the people who may be running late, to give them an opportunity to prompt.
That is super nice.
I do, and I think, what does that speak of their culture? Of that's embedded in their culture.
Yeah.
Whereas us, we kind of work opposite. The people that get their first park closest, and then it's kind of people file in from that.
Though I have to say to all our Japanese friends out there, take it easy once in a while. You guys work too much. You're like us, even a little more nuttier when it comes to the whole work thing. We all gotta relax.
Yeah, I think they. Maybe it's the samurai culture. I don't know.
Yeah. You're doing good as it is. You don't have to be samurai anymore. You don't have to. Yeah, it all ended in stabbing.
Yeah,
you know,
supporting the king. But I don't know, I think samurai culture, and I'm fascinated by Japanese culture and just they're unique. They have
Bushido.
Pokemon and
Pokemon.
Bushido and the whole honor system. I feel like maybe it's something with Western culture as we descend into fascism and corporations and this kind of me first attitude. It would be nice if we had some cultural ethos that put the greater good before ourselves. And there was honor.
I would too, but I would say if you study Japanese culture, a lot of the Bushido and Japanese stuff feeds into fascism. They had their Japanese fascism toward the end that was pretty nutso. And it's like their culture, our culture is kind of similar in certain ways. You know,
I think we have an affinity for Japanese culture, and the Japanese probably have affinity for our culture. And I think it's always easy, right? The grass is always greener on the other side. So I think it's always good to look at other cultures and be amazed at them, because it kind of reflects. You probably see the positive benefits of the society versus maybe there's some negatives that come along with it.
Yeah. One of the things about Japanese sushi, that's
I love sushi.
One of the foods I eat, and I'm like, I can eat this constantly all the time. It's like watermelon. Why am I not eating this all? I could go to heaven and just eat this always. It's so good.
Yeah, I'm surprised there hasn't been an American. Right, we have Chinese food, and I've been on a Chinese food binge. It's been several years, and I ate Chinese food. I was like, this is great, but why don't we have Japanese food? Isn't as prevalent as Chinese food, but I love sushi. And
I think California. If we're in California, people will be like, "Oh, didn't you go to get the California sushi and stuff?" I don't know.
California roll.
Those people, yeah.
That's what I lament. Kind of being on Buffalo and around the Great Lakes, we should have a thriving like fishing culture, and
we should
like an economy that's based on lake, but yet we don't have seafood or lake food.
I think we should be. Yeah, we should have lake food. It should be fashionable to eat. I think they're called sheepheads. I remember I used to catch a lot of sheepheads out of the lake.
Well, yeah, and think of it. That was literally robbed from us from past generations. If we should have a thriving, there should be bass and trout and all the sorts of fish living, and there should be markets that we can buy Great Lake sushi, but you can't. One, we can't swim in the lake because it was polluted.
Yeah.
And I think when you see the images from space, they'll show like from the NASA Center, they take pictures of the Great Lakes, and you can see Lake Erie specifically, since it's so shallow, and all the runoff from all the pesticides that the industrial farmers use kind of just all get filtered to the lake, and it's very algae.
Yeah, it's a lot of crazy stuff going on at the lake there. But let's talk about infringement.
Yes, the infringement recap. So we're going to talk about infringement recap because, you had I thought it was a very successful AI versus artist event.
Yeah, and a lot of good people showed up. You know,
some not so good people.
No, they're all good people.
Yeah,
they're all
anybody
good
that
people.
comes to your art show is a good person.
Yeah, everyone's good. Audrey Hibbett, Barbara Lynch. I probably mispronounced it.
The Da Vinci of Lackawanna.
Yeah, my buddy John Nelson, the Da Vinci of Lackawanna, Frederick Seaton.
Yeah.
Was there. He graced us with his presence, and
we have a comment from Nick's World saying, "Please no infringement. It's illegal." And I don't know. That's part of the infringement festival. Why I love participating in infringement is it's open source. There's no bar to entry. There's no elitist producers that and suit men that tell you can or can't do your art. If you sign up, you're in it. And maybe the more you infringe, the more you push the boundaries of what's legal.
And they let you do anything you want.
Yeah.
Like
anything.
you can do naked weird stuff if you want.
And there was a naked bike ride on Saturday, which is interesting. I've never participated.
My
or
eyes were shocked.
Did you participate?
No, we watched it. We kind of filtered into we were at a protest. Like I was actually me and Sophie and Tony were drinking at a bar and we were like, oh, there's a Bidwell protest at Bidwell. We went over there and all of our sisters were there. Jeannie and Mary Ann and Diane. No, Diane was there. And Kathy. And they're protesting everything that's going on horrible with America. And then it was funny because the guy was trying to give the speech, about protesting. And then there was all this hooting and the naked bike ride rode past.
Interesting. And the naked bike riders, they're kind of doing their own protests because I think the philosophy of the naked bike ride is to kind of provoke and bring awareness to how the human flesh body is so exposed in our car culture.
Or it's a plot to sell Windex.
It's many things. It's a complex phenomenon.
Yeah, it was. And I noticed like there are a lot of dudes. I
can imagine anytime there's naked people, it's probably the people that turn out are probably more
But
dudes
there were appealing ladies.
It's a mix of
in Buffalo
riding their bicycles.
Naked. You can see it all.
It's it was very provoking. I think technically, I think the law says that any human can expose their breasts. I don't know that's naked, but it's interesting how the law. There's many things interesting with the law. I mean, one, how there's certain plants that grow naturally on the earth are illegal. You can't expose your naked body because it's illegal. So it's interesting. Yeah, the law.
Yeah,
that must have been shocking. I mean, your infringement event was artists versus AI.
Artists versus
what
AI.
did you think? What was? I mean, maybe not the turn up, but what? Just if we focus just on the AI art and the art, what was your takeaway of the art?
We learned a little bit about AI, and it's a little less threatening the more that you learn about it because you see its limits, but also you can see how it could be used, and how like if you really prompt it, you can make some amazing stuff. But there's things it can't. It doesn't. It's not fun. It's not fun.
It can be fun. I think. But is it a Trojan horse? Are we thinking it's not powerful only to 10 years down the road, human beings won't have creativity because we haven't used our creative muscles anymore?
That's there's a great song from my day called like I want to fly like an eagle to the sea, fly like the eagle that my future can. But it's really it's written from a time of turmoil where I think where the person wants to go into the future after all the horrible, and I kind of feel that way too. I want to jump into the future. Maybe we'll get rid of some horrible stuff.
That's weird. We're essentially dictating the future now. Our actions now influence the future.
Yeah. Oh.
Which is
geez. Okay, stop it.
We're kind of time travelers in a way. We just can't see.
Yeah. Keep doing the good stuff. Stop the bad stuff.
Yeah, it's up to us to right. There's probably some engineers working for Google and Meta that are using AI to hack our dopamine cycles to make us more addicted and more sheep-like.
Want to hear a horrifying thought?
Sure.
Have you ever heard of the Balisk theory?
No.
That in the future there'll be we will create an AI god.
Okay.
And this god might be similar to our biblical God, where he might be pissed off at the people dissing technology now. Like if we start sucking up to our new robot overlords now. Maybe that's what we should be doing.
Like the way Yahweh would be created biological life. The fact that there might be a separate God that created technological life.
Like maybe that God will want some respect from us ahead of time. Like maybe we shouldn't be like mocking or trying to knock it down or.
Yeah, or maybe it might try to show how powerful it is by, I don't know, triggering our. That's why human beings aren't like tardigrades. We're very our biological shells are not optimized for the elements, which is why we have to wear clothes.
Yeah. Well, maybe we should put it out there right now, folks, to our future AI overlords. It's the Matt and John. We are on your side.
Yeah, we are. Well, yeah. What if we were the ambassadors to humanity? And also,
I'd like that.
Aliens, if you're out there, you're always welcome to appear on our show.
Yeah.
If you want to make,
come on down.
Or Jesus, if Jesus wants to make his return,
Jesus?
we welcome and invite Jesus to.
Yeah.
And I would say,
Michael, Rich will help us put a mic on you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would say, right, Jesus showed up in Jerusalem in the year like 0.
Yeah.
But now that we have TikTok, he could really go viral and spread his message. So I think 2025 is a opportune time for maybe the chosen one to return.
Yeah. Why not return
Yeah.
on our
Why not
show?
premiere in Smalltalk and Matt and John?
Yeah, and like people could learn from that. Like they'll be like, and Jesus didn't return in glory. He went to a small podcast.
I think it would
in
show.
Buffalo.
Yeah, it would really show that he was a man of the people.
Yeah, and it could
He would-
teach you maniacs out there thing or two.
Yeah, he wouldn't appear on Joe Rogan or Call Me Daddy because that would make him seem like a
Yeah,
like an
like a
elitist.
douche.
He's a man of the people, and we could really help humanize him because I think part of the if you try to proclaim yourself as the son of God, you might come off as elitist, but we could really make him seem like he's a salt of the earth figure.
Yeah. Oh, Nick wants to know if I have any thoughts on Disney and Pixar. I'm for them.
I think they're dead. They haven't died yet, but I think the whole Hollywood studio,
Oh, okay.
especially with AI rising, AI is essentially democratizing creativity and production. I think you're seeing people are already prompting AIs to make like short videos, but this could also be done in the future to create longer form content. So when you think of and I think when I watched the movie Napoleon, I was like blown away. They had the story of Napoleon, who's like this badass conqueror. So they have a 6 storyline. They have like almost an unlimited budget, and they had top flight Hollywood actors. And then you go to the movie, and it sucked. There was like one good scene, but in the future, I'm optimistic that there might be some Napoleon buff who's in his basement and has read every single biography and knows everything. Might be able to prompt an AI
to do a really good
to
job.
do a good one, because
Yeah.
the Hollywood movie just like focused on his love life and kind of made him seem like a beta, or as the internet would say, like a cuck. But it really didn't. It showed one angle, and I don't even know if that's true, but
he conquered Europe.
well, yeah, it just made him seem like he was like a beta male, and that he was like simping to his wife who was cheating on him. It just left her like this guy was like conquering the world.
Yeah.
Which obviously he was a complex character, but I think that was like, well, what if there's some history buff that like maybe there was some badass battle, because they only focus on 3 battles because you only have 2 hours, so maybe there was some battle where you could portray him better, but maybe you could do that with an AI versus Disney or Pixar where they're constrained by having to shoot and logistics of getting people, costumes and stuff. Where
you could like have program individual warriors and have them warriors that fear death, that fear swords, and fear like they're brave, and like because that's one thing historians think about battle. We've never had people actually battle with or film them with swords and spears.
Yeah, well, I just think the whole ancient warfare of you get 100,000 men on each side, and they get on 2 tops of the hills, and then somebody blows like a horn, and then the 2 groups converge at each other at full speed, and then one group wins. It just seems, I don't know, that seems like a very interesting form of warfare, and I'm glad maybe our modern society doesn't have that, because that would have been the fate of us, especially, you're an 18-year-old kid or even 16-year-old kid, okay, we're going to the Battle of Grunwald, go to the front lines, and you're in the front, and if you can get through, as you move up the ranks, you slowly move to the back. War. Or even trench warfare. What was it? The Game Green feet, and the rotten feet, because they just sat in muddy trenches for months. And
you'd be in a that was horrible. It'd be trenches. There would be rats in the trenches.
Yeah, all sorts of rats and
gas
and disease.
Yeah, and you were like, you lived in, because you grew up in steampunk paradise, where it was like, we're going to go to a glorious war. Then you get into war, and then you were in hell.
Especially, I think the trench warfare, you literally just sat in a trench, and like the two sides would just be entrenched in their trenches for like months. And so you'd just be sitting in a soggy trench, shooting a bullet every once in a while.
And I think every once in a while, I think the thing was they'd call you're going over the top, which is the most terrifying thing. Is you would get out of the trench and charge, and you'd get shot up.
Yeah.
You know.
At a certain point, though, maybe you'd be so sick of sitting in a muddy, rat-infested trench for months that the idea of charging wouldn't be so bad.
Yeah. The trenches.
But that's, I think, part of the being a modern man is that just we're not. First of all, there's not really anything to fight for. There's no like good cause. But also, we just kind of sit in cubicles or assembly lines.
Yeah.
There's really no need. I don't know. Even I think it's just different how the times have changed.
Yeah.
That was a long whining rant.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
Another way things have changed.
Another way things. Okay, here's another thing that happened. Wonderful thing that happened back in the day. I think someday Disney might do a film about it. The Donner Party.
The Donner Party.
Yeah.
Which is a board game, but it's also a very it's a legend.
Terrible
now.
thing. It's about a bunch of people who made really bad mistakes, and it started with there was this lawyer. His name was Lanford Hastings. No, never listened to some Lanford Hastings lawyer.
Yeah, with a name like Lanford Hastings.
And way back in 1840, people were they're all going to California. There was, and you would take the Oregon Trail. That was the traditional route. Everybody would take it. And along comes this guy, Lanford Hastings. He wanted to become emperor of California, and he wanted to do that by filling California up with white people.
Was it Mormons? I always thought the Donner Party was like a Mormon contingent.
No, they were not. The Mormons, there was a lot of horrifying things that happened with Mormons from that period of time. We could go into that later. Horrifying murders and slaughters.
The Langford Hastings, is that his name? He was just was there any religious zealot to this, or he just wanted to be emperor?
At the time they were all kind of religious. I think they were all. I don't think there was a big like this is all about Jesus. They were, but they were. But there's this weird religion. There's a concept of manifest destiny that we were just gonna. This land would be inherited by us Americans, and but anyway, this guy Lanford, he wanted to do is get many people in California, but he was a dope, and he looked at the stupid map of America. Don't do this, guys. By the way, you can if you want to. You look at a map of America, he looked at the Oregon Trail, he said, oh, they should, he got out his Sharpie, and he drew, and he was like, oh, they should go down this way, and loop around here, and go there, and then it would be a lot faster.
Was that way explored, or he just saw, okay.
He just saw it on a map, that's the thing.
He just saw a map that,
Yeah, and that was his, and he was a lawyer, so he had the gift of gab going, so he printed this out.
Did members need to sign insurance waivers before they got on the wagon?
That stuff like that, who knows? Who knows? But there was money involved. People wanted to go and build a new homes, and so they had to. And also, they brought their farm animals with them. They took their entire houses and their fortunes. And there was about 87 people in all, and they would have wagons
and oxes and horses,
horses, and. This was, and they brought the whole family. A lot of these people were kids, which makes it kind of sad.
Just child abuse in a way.
Yeah, and kids died easy when on the trail.
They're very fragile.
They're fragile. Also,
and with low utility,
they could go and get lost in the grass and never come back because there were seas of grass where you could go in there, get lost, and you'd never see that kid again. You don't know what happened to the kid.
Yeah, maybe a predator got them, or they just genuinely got lost.
And they're like, Billy, and that's that.
Even the whole idea that childbirth too. I think now we have these specialists that specialize in childbirth, but the fact of, okay, your wife's having a kid, you're the delivering partner. We're on the Oregon Trail.
Yeah.
I think childbirth, even that's probably killed more women in history than probably any.
And the thing too, on the trail, you had to stick together. But the thing is. These are people you just met. You're not going to, there were slow old people who kind of got left. We'll get into that as things
go. It's kind of like Love Island, but with like Donner Party Island, where you kind of
Yeah.
you probably had alliances, and there was you're constantly doing a daily cost benefit analysis.
The story was a lot of them hated each other, and it turned out there was the Reed family and there was the Donner family, and the Reed family took charge. He was a guy who made a lot of the bad mistakes. They were supposed to leave. At
the
least,
Donner?
No, it was Reed who was in charge.
Okay.
And he was the Donner. It got named the Donner family because he was the last one in charge. But it was, I think the deal was, you have to, if you don't want to get caught in the winter, you have to leave by April. They left 2 weeks after from Missouri, which is bad to begin with. And they got caught up at this one river they were crossing, and they had to make their own rafts and put everything on a raft. That's the weird thing they had to do.
That was just the whole. The explorers, if their wagon broke down, they would just have to temporarily just fell trees and carpenter
That's
a
what they would
new
have to do.
wagon, which is I don't know. People today aren't as handy.
And unfortunately, an older lady died there, and that was very sad. But they took 2 or 3 days off to bury this woman, which they should not have done that. So they lost time there. So they started out. Going the wrong way in the wrong direction. They were the Pawnee was an Indian tribe. Some of the Indians were nice, some of them weren't. So the Pawnee tribe would pick off their cattle and shoot their cattle, and that's what they had to eat: cattle and their horses, and that was a big problem.
They had to bring their food, but also at a certain point, their animals. Their animals probably weren't very happy with the whole endeavor too.
I think it was bad for they ended. A lot of the animals would end up as food, or also as you go on later in the tale, animals need to eat and drink too.
Yeah.
So at one point they went to a fort, and the guy who wrote the pamphlet had actually done the trail himself. He came back to the fort and he told them, "Don't go this way. It's a bad idea. Settle here." And the humans are like, "No, this is the guy who wrote the pamphlet." He came back. He said he did the trail, and he told them.
What was the pamphlet? The way that they were going?
The pamphlet. It described his new, the Hastings shortcut that he had.
I see. So they were all trying to find shortcuts, and it'd be like the new Lewis and Clark are finding a better way.
And they're apparently they were the term salt. The salt desert. It didn't appear to them as something really bad, but
I would think if I was on an ox cart, that would scare me off.
Yeah, and what happened was they ended up following that trail, and number one, I think they had to go through forest terrain, and that was terrible. They lost people there.
What were the technical skills of the crew? And I said there's a lot of children and older women. Were there a few people that were orienteers?
I think a lot were I think the Reed, the Reed guy, he was a warrior. He was a man of business, so he was very smart. And these were capable people in their own ways. But back then, they could be "Sure, I could build my house." Like you and me, we'd be "Oh, I'm going to go build my own house." I
think that would be one of the issues you have in a contingent of 87 people. If there was 5 people that were competent, so I was going on, they'd be "Yeah, I'm out here, peace," and they could just pick up and leave. There
were young men in there, but also this is the thing: if you're a woman and your husband died, you were on your own. You and the kids would have to fend for yourselves. So there were times where there was an old man.
Then you just become the property of another man, and probably marry them for protection.
Or you just get you basically you're following the trail. And the other wagons, the wagons would have it like an accordion. They would spread out over time, so the 2 miles ahead might be another wagon. I can see other wagon distance, but then people would fall behind sometimes, if they were older, or the Indians started picking off their cattle, which was also pulling the wagons.
Yeah, doing all the grunt work.
So they poisoned a lot of their oxen. Then they hit the salt sea, the salt desert,
which would be where, in Utah.
Yeah, Utah, and they had to go. The thing is, people have to drink and animals have to drink, so they went out there and like the animals would like get so thirsty they would run away and stuff. And
did they have any dogs on the truck? We have a comment here. Dogs licking things they shouldn't. That's BS.
that's a good point. At some point they were probably any animals were eaten eventually. Okay, we'll
you
get to
probably
that.
want some guard dogs to protect you from wolves and
Yeah,
stuff.
that would have been great. Eventually, Reed got kicked out because he murdered a guy. And the thing is their oxen got tangled up, so Reed ended up stabbing one of the popular guys.
Oh, Grant.
And he was thrown out as leader.
How did he get? He got thrown out? Was he still part of the tribe? He just wasn't in charge.
They took him down as leader. They had like this democracy. We're a democracy here. We have to do something. They didn't want to kill him, so they exiled him.
Which is what he was just at the back of the pack.
You're given a horse. He was given a horse, which is actually very generous.
They just said, "Go away."
And his daughters snuck him some guns and some food. So he went ahead. Oddly enough, he went ahead. He went through the trail, and he ended up coming back to rescue them. But it's weird. Reed was a weird guy. He joined the Mexican-American War because it was on at the time. He was a big hero.
He just took a detour on his trip.
Yeah, there was a war going on. He's a big hero, but he came back. Oddly enough, toward the end of the year. That's the thing. It was supposed to take 4 months, but they got into the Sierra Nevadas, I think, the mountain region, and it started to snow.
Ooh, Grunt.
And they woke up in the middle of the night and they were covered in snow. And it was the worst snowstorm, like, ever. Like, at that time. Like, this snowstorm also killed a lot of Mormons.
Okay.
It killed people. It accelerated the potato famine. It was a really bad snowstorm, and they were caught in the middle of it.
With no warmth or...
And a lot of their animals they still had animals.
Is that when they started dying?
But they eventually had to eat the animals and build, like they found a cabin, but they had to build other cabins.
That'd be annoying if you need shelter and, okay, we need to build a cabin.
That's the thing they had to do. They had to go out there, build, because, they were like... Yeah, they built, build a bear, put the cabin together.
It just strikes me how much harder life was back now where we have Amazon Prime and So Netflix. We had Entertain.
And then they didn't have any of that stuff. And also, that's another thing they said. They were bored as hell. And they really got on each other's nerves. So eventually the food started running out. So they started eating they started boiling their shoes to eat.
Oh, Grunt.
And like other leather things, like hides, and I think they did shoot a bear that they were able to eat, but there were like 80 people, so they went through that.
Yeah, I just figured you'd have to go hunting. It seems like the best course of action would have just been identify some stream somewhere and just set up shop and try to be kind of sedentary versus keep moving along.
Yeah, and they were like snowed in. So then they started mice eating.
Okay.
Mice. What? That's the thing.
I would have went big game hunting for some moose or some caribou or something. Why? Yeah.
I think the deal was they were just grounded into like
a hole. Not just anything.
Something scurries around. I could grab that with my hand.
Yeah.
And
let's get to the part where they started eating each other. What happened there?
I believe it was it would happen. Well, people would starve and die of hypothermia, and I think that a lot of it started out as a deal of like, this body's right here, and like, what are we gonna do with it? I mean, and then you start.
Yeah, you're hungry.
They start going through the Bible. And they're like, "Oh, this is my body."
Trying to cite sources in the Bible,
and humans are like that. Like, oh well, he would want us to.
Well, they probably say my body is my flesh, or the bread, the type of verse.
The great thing about the Bible, you can look in there. Just anything.
Yeah, what's implied in here?
Yeah. You don't. I bet. Biblically, you're not supposed to put any condiments on it, but eating, when
interesting.
you're starting. But there were murders did occur because unfortunately they had two nice Indian guides. There were two nice Indian guys who from another tribe, from a nice people tribe, and they were trying to help them out, And they started, like in the cartoon, started looking at those guys and being like,
Oh, the Indian guides.
the Indian guides, and these starving settlers, and they were like, they did eventually, they ran away. Those guys ran away, but they eventually.
I would have been surprised if they didn't pick up on the vibes. And just peace out.
They did pick up the vibes and they took off, but they eventually found them again anyway. And at this point, these were starving, but they killed. Those guys were half dead anyway.
The Indian guys.
They started because they were running out of food too, but they were killed by the settlers.
I would just think the Indians would have the advantage there.
Yeah, I suppose so, but
So they were all manic, a little bit manic as a group.
Yeah, and there was I'm leaving a lot of fun details.
Yeah, let's get to the fun details.
Of course, there's a group that tried to break away and made their own skis or like snow boots to go find help. Then they called themselves.
Why would you go looking for help? There is no help. You're on the Oregon Trail. This new shortcut.
I think that's the deal. They also made painful choices where they were like
trade-offs.
They're trade-offs where they say, well, if they would have went down this way, they could have found like a town right there, but they didn't.
Yeah, and revisionist history.
They were like, so that Forlorn Hope did a bunch of those. I think they eventually did stumble into. They were rescued eventually.
Imagine if you were just living a life in a quaint town and then the Donner Party just rolled in mid-trip.
Yeah, and that's another thing. That's another thing too. If people are starving, you can't just. I would love to give them like a big giant hoagie, but you can't do it because that will kill them.
Yeah, it's too fast.
Because their stomachs get used to just dissolving.
I think it's similar if you're hypothermia. You can't just put a nice warm blanket on them. You kind of got to gradually warm them up again.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Some of them died of hypothermia too. Where when you get hypothermia, you go nuts and you want to try to take off all your clothes and run around naked because you feel like you're burning up. Like when you get hypothermia, it's a weird. You
get so cold that you feel hot.
Yeah, that's one of the weird things that happened. And also, there's another odd thing that happened where a guy ate a mouse. He'd been starving, but those extra calories drove him nuts. Where he did kind of go crazy and attacked somebody, and then he died.
It's like a giant Survivor Island.
Yeah, it was just. And it didn't. Now, 40 of them did live, which was good. Yeah.
Out of 87?
Out of 87, yeah.
That seems like a pretty good ratio. Ultimately, I always thought it was like 3 people left, and they just.
Oh. Yeah. Yeah. So there was a chunk of them that did live. They had plenty to eat toward the end, but
yeah.
Yeah.
What are the lessons there? Because I feel like I think in the modern world we kind of underestimate our own, primal instincts for survival, and I think we kind of don't do ourselves credit for what we could endure both negatively if we with the fight to survive. Because I feel like it's easy to say, oh, I would never eat another human being, but if you were on the Donner Party and you really had no options, it's kind of hard to in a world where we have Netflix and Amazon Prime and DoorDash, it's kind of hard to imagine that. But yeah, people have done bad things. Even when you talk about the Nazis in World War, I think there's another quote that there's a little bit of evil in all of us, and there's also a little bit of kind of good in us. So I think we're a mixed bag. But I think we're designed to. I don't know. What are the big takeaways you think from the Donner Party? What does it say about the greater humanity?
Respect nature. Nature will kill you.
Yes, nature is very brutal.
And also listen to women, because one of the things happened. One of the Donner wife, she was like, "We should not listen to this. We better turn around." At one point, she was like, "We better settle here." She was at a fort or something, and all the men were like, "Oh, let's keep going." And she's like, "No, I mean, let's not listen," because they all wanted to listen to that Lanford Hastings guy.
That's really human decision making. How do you, especially?
Yeah,
I mean. Essentially, when you're moving in a crew like that, you kind of have one leader that calls the shots, and you kind of, in a certain ways, you have to stay organized. But in a certain way, a single leader, a top-down leadership, can kind of fail because they don't have good information.
Yeah, and there's like from what I listened to, like the one the female Donner wife, she had it like she could have saved them all if they would have listened to her. They could have saved you know.
Yeah, they could have.
And but yeah, another thing, yeah, don't yeah, go you don't have to when it comes to your life and exploration and lives of other people, you don't try to, don't follow a guy.
But it's also we've made great innovations and great strides because there's crazy people that are willing to push the boundaries, whether right, I think we talked about this previous shows, but the Wright brothers, right, they get credit for inventing how to fly, but how many other, crazy people, tried things before and tinkered that essentially were the giants that the Wright brothers sold on, but because people had jumped off with tar feathers a cliff and tried to flap their wings, because somebody was crazy enough to do that and it clearly failed, it told learned. Future generations, oh, well, that's not the way. We need to try different ways. So how many innovations have just been because there's crazy people doing things that they shouldn't.
Yeah, that's the thing. If that would have been successful, also, the guy would have made a lot of money.
Maybe the state of California would have been named, Hastings.
But also, there was a certain point where there was a guy at a trading post along that trail who never got a lot of business, and a reporter had gone through that trail ahead and came back and wrote him a letter saying this trail is a bad trail, and he wrote him to the trading post guy, and it was a letter to the Donner Party to tell him not to go. The trading post guy never gave him that letter because he wanted to become rich and famous if people started using that trail. Yeah. So it was like his greed. If that had worked out, there would have been different cities would have grown up and there would have been new roads.
Interesting, because how do they even send that letter? If there's just a desolate trail, how does the guy? Oh, I got to send a letter. Does that mean you get on a horse and you ride and give it to the guy?
Yeah, really. I don't know. That's another thing. Yeah, because because that's the thing. There were
networks of posts.
Yeah, and they did. There were times that they would find posts from the guy who went out ahead of them. Like people that had gone out ahead of them.
Yeah.
And,
well, it's kind of the Donner Party represents kind of, humanity's ever-quenching thirst to push the boundaries and to explore and to maybe greed, too. Maybe it's
greed,
a metaphor for our deeper, societal greed to always want more and never be content because they didn't want to run a small post. They wanted to, have an empire.
Yeah, and... man, oh man! But they all wanted to go to California and be rich there.
Yeah, the gold.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
which I think that's one of the. I don't know. It's something we don't have as modern humans. Is there's no kind of unmarked or unexplored territories on the map. I mean, there's the deep sea, but you can't just get in your human shell and go there.
Yeah,
or I think that just the ideal of getting on a donkey and going into the forest and beating your own path just isn't a career path that's available to the modern man.
I really wish it was. That's why I really wish there was more Earth. I do wish we found out science was wrong about huge swaths and thinking, look, there's this planet over here, or there's more parts of the Earth to explore. Well,
there probably is, and I think. But I always joke too that I wish society had some overarching goal. As I'm sitting in my cubicle, right in a bureaucratic state where we don't really make things in here anymore. It's I wish I could wake up every day and feel like I was contributing to, going to Mars or exploring new territory or building something better than myself.
Yeah.
Versus just kind of maintaining the status quo and sitting in a cubicle. Yeah. You just wonder what unfulfilled potentials are dormant in us that maybe exploring would have exposed, or just think how much tougher but how much more exciting life would have been if you weren't as stable.
Yeah.
I think even in the tough, there's always the hope or that you were going to get rich because maybe maybe there's a gold mine on just the other side of that hill.
Yeah.
And maybe it's not, but maybe the other side of the hill next after that, there's gold, and you just kind of
I wish there was a whole new continent would open up, and we just whoa crap.
Antarctica, there's lots of potential there. I think. I think Antarctica, there's some that's not really explored at all.
Yeah, it would be nice to, something like that.
I mean, it's from the research essentially, how the poles, there's the magnetic poles, those switch throughout history. So there's actually probably Antarctica at one point was like a rainforest at certain points. There could be just a buried civilization there. I think
that would be fun.
I think that's I don't know. That would be that seems like the last frontier. Maybe Australia. There's lots of crazy stuff in Australia.
They say too that in Antarctica there's heated water underneath by volcanism.
Yeah.
So like there's vast areas where there's vast lakes under there that they like with water heated, and we know around vents there's certain life.
Yeah.
So there could be some
because there's water. Yeah.
There could be like a weird ecosystem that may have been trapped there for millions of years that we don't know about. Like it could have weird crabs in there, and they could have evolved in all.
I think the ocean floor is like another area that's just ripe for. We just don't know what's down there. I mean, it's our own world, but yeah, what's at the bottom of the ocean? There's all sorts of weird things. I mean, we barely know what's in the Amazon rainforest is another area too. And I know one book similar to the Dawn Party, but a book I read was about Teddy Roosevelt did a scientist after he was president. He's just a badass and just went and explored Brazil. So he like went on this just river exploration tour with a crew, and it was kind of similar to you. I don't know if they Donner partied each other and each other, but they ran into logistical issues because they were going down an uncharted territory. And they were in the rainforest, and they encountered tribes and stuff. And it was I think Teddy Roosevelt, he died shortly.
Whoa.
Not after that, but it took a lot of the steam out of his engine because he was a pretty robust, vigorous human being. And I think that that trip to the Amazon exploring there, I think he got sick on his trip, and that took a lot of that definitely shortened his life. But I think there's a river there now, the Theodore River. There's a river named after him in his honor because he was essentially the first white colonial people to explore that territory. It's 2025, but we still don't know. The fact that there's still uncontacted tribes, I always think kind of blows my mind.
That is amazing. Yeah. What are they thinking? What are those people thinking? What are they doing? Like those like you hear that there's a tribe in like India that they don't allow people to go near them.
Yeah. Well, a lot of them are actually hostile. I think a lot of them understand the dangers of our modern society, but at the same time, what are they thinking? And
but I heard that. I heard they killed some dopey Christian guy.
There's a dopey guy that he I think again he was on some missionary and he was trying to contact them. Yeah. And they shot arrows at him.
And the thing is though, those dopey missionaries, that could be the worst goddamn thing for them. Like they're gonna introduce them to like number one, there's the diseases that come along. Yeah. Along with Caucasians. There are diseases, and then they would teach them about hell, which they have no concept of hell. They would teach them about like all these bizarre Christian concepts that we've created over time that like they help us get along in our modern society, but wouldn't do shit for a poor.
Also weird. We don't really know much, or at least I don't know much about like. Were there any reverse missionaries? Were there Indian missionaries that felt like they needed to go into white society?
Oh, that's a great idea. That's a great concept.
Because I feel like that. I don't know. I am very interested in their culture, just because obviously, even when we talk about Native Americans, they're not just one culture. There's like so nuanced in the different tribes, and I feel like that's maybe one of the biggest. I don't want to say blunders of history, but I think there could have been so much human progress just from. If there was genuine kind of learning from the two cultures. So if the West adopted the best practices of the Native Americans and vice versa, maybe we could have really created something special. But obviously disease and violence and had other.
I heard, one of the things with like, say, psychedelic mushrooms, we didn't know about that until like there was an article was published in like Look magazine or something like that in the 60s. About some guy, he went and he had psychedelic mushrooms in Mexico. And Western side, we never even knew about that. They never even bothered to talk to the Indians what they were doing. Yeah. And that's where like, that, jump-started 60s drug culture. And
I think it's ayahuasca or something. There's some random, it's like you just combine these two plants that have nothing to do with each other, and it just creates this psychedelic experience. So it's like, wait, how many other combination of plants are there? And just think of how did they, right? The Native Americans somehow figured that out, and then that's like blows my mind too. Of how do you just take two plants, combine them together, and then it creates this
And then
human psychedelic experience.
Yeah, you had shaman back then. Like, yeah.
But even today, it's 2026, and our government's marijuana is still federally illegal, which is just a plant that grows. There's no mixing. So I think in a lot of ways we still don't know much. I think I'm hopeful that the tide on modern medicine is turning. And I think right when you think of all the pharmaceuticals and all the our kind of current medical industry is just designed around profit. But how many healing medicines are out there that we don't even know? How many other combinations of plants could heal us that it was lost because it was ancient wisdom?
Yeah. It's we lost. Well, Loretta will tell you there was about like the Aztec Americans. There was a priest who he had a tome of like a lot of Aztec knowledge. He had like tons of this. It was some priest in Spanish in Americas, in the Americas, like when the Incans and the Spanish, and he like torched the history because he's like, that's of the devil.
Was it a Spanish priest?
It was a Spanish priest, I believe, and it was like
an ancient library that they had.
Something to that effect, and it was like, this is of the devil. This is like all their about all their math and all their stuff, and like,
That's like, it makes me, just the fact that there was a ancient knowledge there.
Yeah.
And it just, torch it up because it's, that hurts.
Yeah. Folks, the devil isn't running in front of you and planting secret stuff to annoy you. If you meet another culture.
I feel like the burning of human knowledge is the devil itself.
Yeah.
So to say that, I don't know, that's disappointing too. And I think I've heard some podcasts too where, there's these passages, because as word was coming back to the New World, there's early explorers, they were writing about like magnificent societies and a culture that was here that never really, I don't know, it's just something that kind of got glossed over because the disease kind of overtook it. But the initial impressions were there was pretty robust civilizations here. And yeah. When you think about, I mean, they were building pyramids too, and so it's like, what's going on there? I think
even in America, they were building dirt pyramids.
Yeah,
and there was like before diseases, all our European diseases hit.
Yeah,
there's all.
I think there's a theory that is maybe a little kooky, but there's a theory that the actual Amazon is like a man-made or man-constructed forest that kind of overgrew. So there could be. I think they're starting to do like LiDAR scans of the Amazon where they're actually like uncovering like structures and stuff there. So there could be like ancient civilizations that are just buried under the Amazon rainforest that we don't know about because we still don't know much about. Even as someone that lives in North America, I really don't know much about South American civilizations. And
we don't.
We just view them as very primitive. Or even with the Aztecs, why were they just slaughtering people all day? That's I think it's easy to judge and say those people were barbaric, but at the same time, we don't fully understand what were they doing, what was their beliefs.
We don't really know the backstories. We're like, right.
It made sense to them. They were doing it, and I think there's also culture too that psychedelics might have influenced like early culture. So like they could have been. I think it's funny to think about that. Maybe some ancient priest that just went on a psychedelic trip. I don't know. I don't understand. My Western brain doesn't understand the whole concept of sacrificing humans to the gods on your pyramid, but at the same time, it's fascinating. Why were they doing that? What were they, trying to accomplish?
And
I think people might look at our society in 500 years and just look at all the garbage we have everywhere and be like, what? Might view the same way as we view slaughtering humans. I mean, we're kind of slaughtering the environment in a way.
But one of these concepts I heard, like from Aztec cultures, they thought that the human bones, were stolen from the gods. And so one of their legends, like, human bones got stolen from the gods. So their worldview was like, these bones belong to the gods. And
interesting. I read about a Native American culture that they weren't nomadic, but they kind of moved their society every like 10 years or something. Like they'd kind of farm an area and then get up and move. But when they'd get up and move, they would actually like dig up with their hands the bones and the bodies of their ancestors and carry them with them to their next site. And I think, we have this Western culture where, we put our dead ones in a wood box, bury them, and out of sight, out of mind. We don't think about it. But the whole idea that other cultures would, with their own hands, really unbury decomposed bodies and bones and carry them to their next site and replace them there. I know it's just fascinating because it's like, whoa, they must have been so connected with their ancestors, and I don't know, it's just very different to think about that they're also human beings. They were doing something completely radical that we don't understand.
A whole different thought process.
Because what would that culture then think of our graveyards? What would they think of that concept of we put people in a box and then put them in the ground and we sell little plots?
And those things like because that's taking up land. That land.
Yeah.
Humans need land.
Well, I get curious too, especially I think the Delaware Park. Like there's lots of land that's like in really prime real estate. So at a certain point, do development pressures like become? I don't know how do you?
Oh yeah, would be the movie Poltergeist. Part of me be like, hey, let's just build a house right on top of it.
Well, that's what I think we're pushing towards. I think Seattle made or the state of Washington made human composition legal. Or now we're kind of pushing the actual burning of bodies or the mausoleums where you actually build bodies. Because at a certain point it becomes inefficient to you go up.
A mausoleum,
a mausoleum. It's just interesting. I don't know.
Well, I like the one Mom and Pa are buried in. Their shells are in shells.
Well, I thought it was weird too when that mausoleum where there was one couple that they had their faces on their tombs in their birth years, but not their death years. They're just still living. So it's like, how does it work? You just buy a mausoleum plot with your spouse? As you rent it, do you just go and visit your own mausoleum site with your face on it, but you're not dead?
I know Mom and Pa would talk about their thing all the time. Our shelves. We're going to go to the shelves. We'll be resting on those shelves.
I really want a Buddhist sky burial. That's how I want to. That's my preferred method.
That's a tough way to go. Oh, okay. Eat my birds?
They
eat my birds?
Essentially take you to the top of the Himalayas or the Tibetan mountains and just lay your carcass out and the vultures and the animals.
Yeah.
My friend I think they're Buddhists. They're telling me that there's like vast, like yards. There's like yards where people have been doing that for centuries, and it's just you go there and it's like a hellscape of just decomposing bodies and vultures and bears but it's also I don't know, very natural. I feel like too.
I know the FBI does it to study bodies. There's a place where they'll take like people who died naturally and just put them out and they study it decomposing, like so they can learn stuff. But that's another. But your Buddhist idea. They do it for.
But other cultures would look at our I don't know, and I think it all comes back to the human. Nobody knows what's going on. Nobody knows what happens after you're dead. And how we think of death or how we don't think of death is, I think, I don't know. It's interesting because every human being that's ever been on the earth just kind of ultimately doesn't know. And we have some questions here from Nick's World. What is more reliable, AI or real talent? How you
more reliable. This is the thing. AI, you could just knock that out whenever you want. I've been in a pinch where I'm like, I'll just AI it. Yeah. Like even for my art show, I was thinking of a poster. I was thinking, I'll just AI it, and I just boom, and but the thing is, human art is way cooler because you're like, ooh,
there's a grittiness to it.
Yeah, there's a grittiness to it, but that AI, you can just boom, you got it right there,
I think, I guess it all comes down to your definition of reliable. But I've started using AI for FOIL requests.
Oh, yeah.
Like just writing, because it's great for like legal, because you can just copy and paste the law and tell AI, what does this, interpret this law, here's a set of facts, spit out a review. And I've started using AI. And I think the real talent, I think I'm really interested in, I think there's this company that puts the best of the future is like the most optimal system is kind of the AI and human systems. Like a purely AI system, a purely human system is going to get outcompeted by systems that are blended with, the advantages of AI with also the advantages of human creativity and talent. Because like you're saying, I think my big takeaway from the AI versus artist event was that it was, first of all, it was thought provoking. But I think I was really you kind of set up as artist versus AI, and it made me think about what happens when the artist themselves is using the AI and they kind of prompt to get the vision out of their head, and then eventually that artist says, "Okay, this is it."
Well, one thing I used to, because I like to do figures, but I find AI you could have any types of like I would look specifically for certain figures and things, but with AI, you could just produce that right away.
Yeah.
And then, like, I could draw that. I might try someday drawing from the AI created, like, figures, you know.
Yeah. That's why I think your art is like set up for AI, because you can just prompt. If you say, I don't know, give me a flying lobster over, a ruin of the Amazon, with the backdrop of the, like, you can make it, you can add as many ridiculous variables, and AI will be like, great, and just turn it out.
Yeah. We had a comment from Tim Raymond, but I'm sorry, on Facebook. He says, "Hey John, what's up?" And he says, "Wasabi."
Wabi Sabi.
Wabi Sabi. He was another great artist who was in the show.
Yeah.
Tim Raymond, and he had a very interesting piece of art about like a children's boat. That it was a very nice painting. Like it was a boat that children made on the side of the sea. You saw it.
Yeah.
But then the AI had kind of a cheesy version of that.
Yeah. Well, that's why I think the prompting, as I've got into AI, I've realized that the prompting is its own wormhole of, there's an art and there's a science to actual prompting itself. So not all prompts are made equal. And I kind of call it creative technical writing. The more creative and the more technical you can be, that's going to get you better results.
Yeah.
Yeah. Have you heard of the new Donkey Kong game? That's another comment we have.
You know what? I'm pro Donkey Kong. It's a good idea. It was a good idea that the donkey is Kongy throws stuff.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, I'm waiting for AI to start creating video games. We need more newer games, and it's funny that I think it's Roblox is like just a very pixelated, like the graphics are kind of archaic, but that's kind of the charm of it. So I feel like it's Donkey Kong. I just think of Nintendo 64 when I think of Donkey Kong, but I think a lot of the video games, right? We have these graphic processors that are ridiculous now, and you can get super realistic imaging, but there's something that appeals to the human mind of just pixelated, very simple graphics that are almost kind of just pixelated. I don't know. There's something. Maybe it's just because I'm a millennial boomer, and I feel like I'm as I'm starting to get older, I'm starting to feel like a boomer. Obviously, I'm not a boomer yet, but I'm starting to see like, I am like a boomer in the making.
I could see like parts of my generation. Well, the thing is, people feel that they have to agree with the boomers, or I feel there's people my age who are like, or like they kind of, and I find like on Facebook, they're really talking to people from my generation, but treating them like they're boomers. Like, remember how we're the toughest generation? Like, we weren't. Our generation was not tough. Like we had, but maybe like some people today are a little more sensitive. I don't know, but there's people in my generation who act like they went to goddamn World War II, and you didn't. You didn't go to World War II. You lived through the 80s. You watched Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
That's why
getting stoned.
I enjoy my role as a millennial is almost, I feel like, translating the boomers to the zoomers and vice versa, because they're just so different. But because I sit in the middle of the boomers and the zoomers.
Yeah, and boomers didn't go to World War II either. They're boomers.
Like I'll try to rationalize the boomers and explain the boomers' point of view, but zoomers are like so detached from boomers that just genuinely.
You know what I've seen on Facebook? This annoys me. Once in a while, the discussion, they talk about jarts.
Jarts. Oh, yeah, which is an ancient yard game.
Yeah, and there are people, older people, who are like, you'd use that to pick off the weak kids. They make comments like, yeah, we were so tough back then.
Yeah, because you had jarts.
Because you
how many
had
children were, how many, and just the lawyers wouldn't let it fly now because of the insurance liability.
Yeah, and I think you just... like to me, it's like, no, that did not make our generation tough. Yeah. It showed how stupid we were.
Well, yeah,
generation.
Well, thank you for tuning in. That's the end of our show. We're getting cut off here, but thanks. We'll be on another 2 weeks.
Hey, Nick Squirrel and Tim Raymond. Thanks for
viewers, and thank you for tuning in. But we're fading to darkness now.
Yeah.